To be a Spartan, you gotta have determination.
Come on!
You have to push through the pain.
There you go, let's go!
So you always need tenacity.
It's very primal.
You're cold, you're soaking wet.
If you do this now, you can do anything.
But they've never done anything like this. From the millions of obstacle course racers worldwide, we've assembled 36 teams of 5. 2 women and 2 men partnered with an elite Spartan racer. They've come to compete in the sport's ultimate event on the most demanding course ever built for a prize of $250,000. They are best friends.
It means everything. It's a brother I never had.
They are siblings.
We're twin brothers. He's a cop, I'm a fireman.
And they are parents.
And I kiss her on the forehead and tell her I love her. She's never gonna say I love you back. But I know she does.
But most importantly, they are teammates, pushing each other over massive obstacles,
Let go!
through frigid waters, under razor-sharp barbs, and the obstacle from hell.
I've actually been having nightmares about that slip wall.
This thing covered in mud, 25 feet tall, and it was like a Rubik's Cube. And every single time you thought you had it right, it all fell apart.
In this competition, no one triumphs alone.
We're coming, baby, we're coming!
This is a team. This is a family.
This is the ultimate team challenge.
Hold on! Hold on!
This is Spartan.
I always get a little nervous about steps. You know?
right?
It's like you have to focus in like right there, or else someone's gonna definitely laugh about you. But at least it'll go viral because you'll be like, man, Dhani busted his ass going up those steps.
Yeah, right. These obstacle courses are a little worse than this, right?
Exactly. It's like he's an athlete. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
What are you
right.
talking about?
Yeah, I was gonna say to you. So, former NFL player, could you still do these challenges?
Absolutely,
Do you think?
I can do it right now in my sleep. I can go around here and just climb on this, jump over that. You know, I could probably jump from here to over there. I mean, but I can't do that? What do you think? I'm an athlete. I can do it. Of course I can.
Yeah. So, congrats on the show. Based on the trailer and some of the clips that I saw, it's incredible. Awesome storytelling mechanism too. For a former athlete like yourself, were you drawn to more of the human aspect of this type of fitness and sports show that you got to develop personal relationships with these athletes?
I mean, you saw the trailer. You loved it. Did you all love it? You loved it? That's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's the reason, to your point, why I did it. And but it is the power of the story, right? You know, it's the power of the people. It's the backstories of the people and where they've come from and what they've triumphed over and what their trials and tribulations have been before they've gotten there, and then how obstacle course racing and how Spartan changed their entire lives. I mean, we have families of, older generation all the way down to younger generation, a grandmother and a grandfather, immigrants. We have people that have grown up together. We have people that have fought different levels of addiction, and it's all because of Spartan. It's all because of this obstacle course racing that they've come out better people because of it. And that's what I love so much about it. And you saw in the trailer, Ruby's Racers, the guy that, his daughter is has been sick for a long time, and she knows that he's doing this for her. I mean, those are the powerful stories that I know people will be so attracted to when they watch Spartan.
Now, take us through the start here. How'd you get involved with the project?
They called me.
Yeah, simple as that.
They called me and they were like, you know what? We love what you've done traveling all around the globe and the people that you've met and the way that you've been able to relate to individuals. And we also know, how much you love playing sports and playing in the National Football League. And they thought it's sort of like this seamless integration where it's like, this is the world of which you've lived for a long time. And then Kyle Martino and Evan Dollard and MJ Acosta all host alongside with me, just being that team working together and just having a great time out there. And then we went out to Georgia, shot it, got it done, and just had a lot of fun while doing it, and really fell in love with the people and the contestants all along the way.
Did you find yourself throughout the process, because you were there watching them do the obstacles, did you find yourself actively rooting for a lot of these guys?
I rooted for everybody, because it was like, wow, it was like at the very beginning, you're seeing some of these people and you're like, man, great athlete, great leader. At the end, not such a great leader, not such a great athlete. Then you had some people where you were like, wow, they don't look like they're in great shape. And they don't look like they're saying anything. At the very end, they're the ones that are lifting people up and lifting people over. You saw the culmination right there. That's the slip wall. I mean, that is the show itself, where everybody has to be able to get over that. And you can't get over it by yourself. And then you start to see people's true colors come out. And that's what's so great about team challenges, is that you start to see the real people behind whatever they've been able to sort of compensate for the better part of whatever years by doing stuff by themselves. And that is one of the things that attracts people so much to Spartan.
Gotcha. And for you as a former athlete, did they ever come to you for any type of advice? Or
of course, they were like, showrunners like, so what do you want to do today? Directors like, what kind of shots you like, produce. Heck no, they didn't look at me. They didn't. I wish they did.
Player, they did not care.
No, we did have some opportunities to create some input because, for the host to have an investment in the show, and for the people to have an investment in the show and those that are around, that just makes it better, right? It's that collaborative platform where, we know what we have to get done, but, if there's something special that we want to do, then we could do that, because it's all in our own words. It's all from our sort of vantage point. And from Kyle and my perspective, we're working together to make sure that it's the most beautifully shot show, the most competitive show, the most, just amazing show, and it's just awesome. We want people to be able to participate. We want people lined up outside the door. We want all of you right here and all of you back home and everywhere else you are right now. We want everybody to be able to sign up and say, you know what, I'm going to go do that Spartan Challenge, because I feel like I relate to any and everybody that has done that show, and I feel like I can win. We can win as a team.
Mm-hmm. Having the show be only an hour, and the audience seeing such an abbreviated, just section of what exactly was filmed. What was the process like for you watching it being produced? And were you kind of taken aback at how it was edited, or? No.
I mean, so the way that we got to see it, so we're in this perch, right? And we're able to see essentially everything. And so at the starting line, you see these teams start to warm up in their, going through their own personal routine, and everybody's got their own style of doing things, right? And then all of a sudden they take off into the woods and they go into the different walls that they have to climb over, and then they kind of keep going around. And the thing about this show is everybody has to stick together the entire time. There's not a point in which you can separate, because if you separate and lose somebody, you're not going to win at all. So we're watching this all culminate through the different show and through people's individual trials and tribulations as they're going through the show. I mean, one of the parts that was interesting to me was there was a guy that played football, and I'm like rooting for this guy, and I'm like, he was starting to breathe a little bit too deeply. His muscle-bound man got a little bit, locked up. So there's some things that happen, but in the end, you'll have to see what happens. And there's a lot of those stories that are along the way. You're watching people, and you're like, I don't know, and you're like, whoa. They just kind of catch you off guard. But from our perch, we're able to see everything that essentially happens all the way around to the spear throw and the totem climb and the slip wall, and is the best perspective, because that's where everything essentially culminates. That's where everything, that picture, that's real, right? That's as good as it gets right there. And you see him stepping on his head. That's not like, oh, well, we're just we're gonna take a picture of a wall and everybody's like laying down on their back and it's like on a flat surface and we're gonna stand it up to make it look like that. Like, that's real, and that's right in the middle of the show. But there's situations like that, and people just like grabbing on each other's clothes and neither regions and things like that in order to get, to propel themselves up. But we're seeing all this and we're involved in all this and we're rooting for people along the way, and it's just awesome.
Mm-hmm. Now, you also hosted a show for the Travel Channel, similar to this, where you
Isn't Andrew coming on next? Andrew Zimmerman? I think he's coming on, right? Andrew, yeah. So Andrew's on the Travel Channel. He's one of my good friends. I always call him when I travel overseas, because I'm like, hey, man, you got a good place for me to eat? You got some good food for me to try? And it's funny, last night I ate at this Korean restaurant, which is one of my favorite. It's called Wonjo. And if anybody's hadn't been there, just go there. They won't let you sit alone, even though I was the first person to do so, because I was like, look, I'll order for 3 people. And they're like, okay, no problem. But yeah, the Travel Channel, it was awesome because, I played for the Bengals. Any Bengals fans? Come on, give me somebody. All right. I played for the Giants. Any Giants fans? All right. Any Eagles fans? Oh, man. This room got serious.
Crowd.
The room got serious. But going from the Giants in my formative years and then going to the Eagles and then going to play for the Bengals was an awesome experience. But it's funny because Travel Channel, which was owned by the Discovery Channel, then got bought by the Scripps Network. So I was actually working for 2 teams or 2 companies in the same town across the highway from one another, right? So like the Scripps Network is like across the highway for the Browns, from not the Brown Stadium, but Paul Brown Stadium, if you will, playing for the Bengals. And it was awesome. And to be able to travel to 20 different countries, compete in 20 different sports, some of them of which I got my ass beat and others of which I beat somebody else's ass. It was fun, It's like you come home and you might have a black eye. You come home, you might tell the story about how you gave somebody else a black eye. You tell the stories about, eating Rocky Mountain oysters. Have you had that before?
Oh, yeah.
You know what that is? It's good, right? Bull balls. With a little guacamole and Tostitos. It's good. It's so good. What do you call it? This goat's head that was like boiled and cold. Yeah, it's nasty. And then you eat the tongue, you eat the brains, and the only thing they say is like, anytime you eat all this food that's a little bit different from what we're traditionally used to, everybody says it's like an aphrodisiac. So you're just like eating it all up, eating it all up. But it was awesome to be able to play the different sports. And the funniest thing is, well, maybe not the funniest thing, is I didn't tell anybody when I first did the show. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want them to know that I was, going off to London to play the game of rugby when I was in the middle of like a contract year. I don't want my coach to know. I didn't want the ownership to know because they would be like, void the contract, right? And then I got back in town, and then it was all good because Mike Brown, who owns the Bengals, he actually watched the show on Monday night. So I was like, oh, cool. So make sure you watch. So I saw him this past week at practice. I was like, also make sure you watch Spartan on NBC June 13th on Monday night. He was like, you like that Monday night slot, don't you? It's like, yeah, it's done pretty well for me.
Yeah. So you were a student athlete at University of Michigan.
The University of Michigan. Who likes Michigan? Yeah. All the rest of y'all can go somewhere else.
When you were a student, did you know that media was going to be in your future, or was that something that kind of crept up?
Well, I had no idea. When I got to the Giants, I just followed in the footsteps of Michael Strahan, who's been a great supporter and a great mentor to me. And you know what? I mean, my friend Sean and Shamari had this show called like the Sean and Shamari show. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, it's like, man, I can't believe college was that long ago, right? I won't tell you. That was a long time ago. But, so we always did that show, but I never thought that type of show and that type of just like preparation would all of a sudden have me in a place like this, which I'm fortunate enough to be right here with you on AOL. And it's like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, those were the days back in college when I was sitting in the tree. There's actually, if you look online, there's probably like some video of me perched up in a tree reading poetry, doing some crazy stuff. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, but you can search for it. And there's probably some other like video of me like standing on top of a statue reading some poetry as well. You can search for that too. And there's probably some video of me doing some like kung fu on some train tracks, and with some like background. It was crazy, but that was the TV show that we did. But I never thought that type of show would, or that type of preparation would sort of lead me down this path of which I met Michael and did a lot of stuff in New York, being on the Giants, and then going to Philadelphia and then doing those shows there, and then ended up, I did it. My first show was a show called Timeless, and that was on ESPN, and I was one of the first players, if not the first player, to have his own show while at the same time playing football, and then going from there in the NFL Network, and then building into Travel Channel, and then building on my Spike TV show called Playbook 360, and now with this awesome opportunity with NBC and Spartan. I mean, it's just like, it just kind of keeps ramping up. And I always said that, one day when Larry King steps aside, I'm going to take his place. But you know what? I'll be pretty good on NBC. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, there you go. Was it difficult for you at first, being in front of the camera and whatnot, or did it kind of come natural to you from
the camera?
being
What camera? What camera? There's no camera here. This is a bunch of people. It just so happens there's like a million people on the other end. They're looking at me like, man, the camera to me is just the stadium, right? We're just playing a different game now. I'm sweating just like I would on the field. And these are friends, these are supporters, these are fans that wake up and come see you and come hang out and live vicariously through you. And I do it from a selfless standpoint. Not everybody can sit in the perch and watch everybody compete in Spartan. I sit on the field and not everybody can compete at the highest level in the NFL. I travel around the world and not everybody has a passport to do so. I meet people from all the different worlds and people haven't heard their stories. So I learn their story and I tell all of you. Because the fact is, not everybody is as fortunate as you or I to sit here and be able to talk. So why not take everybody's story, take all your experiences, and give it to everybody else? Because in the end, it's not about you; it's about something greater than yourself.
Mm-hmm. We live in a time where so many former athletes will move on to being successful media figures. You look at Jalen Rose from the NBA, right? And
Michigan.
There you go, another Wolverine.
Just keep going down the line. Desmond Howard, Michigan.
There you go.
Who else you want?
Wolverine Nation, huh?
Exactly.
Have you found that former athletes have kind of decided that that's where they want their path to go to, and have they reached out to you with that goal and kind of asked, for you to be a mentor in any way?
People call me, people tweet at me at Dhani Jones, people Instagram me at D0057. People reach out and they email me. And the thing I always tell people is, like, I give them my cell phone, I give them my email, I said, just call me. Whatever you need, just call me. Just ask. I don't have any problem helping. I don't have any problem giving you a name of an individual that might be able to sort of, increase your visibility and opportunity to do different things. I think it's important for those that have the stage to be able to sort of pave the way for others to have the stage just the same. So players have reached out to me. I've seen, I go to the Super Bowl every year. Check this out. So I was at the Super Bowl, and we did this thing called First and Future, and I'm sitting up on the stage, and we're looking at all the different possible investments for the National Football League, and guess who's sitting to the left of me? Condoleezza Rice. I'm on a panel with Condoleezza Rice and Parker from Nike, and Jed York is about to come on stage as like another guest judge, and I'm thinking to myself, what other athletes are sitting here as judges alongside people like Condoleezza Rice? And I'm like, nobody. So when you have an amazing opportunity where you're sitting in front of your constituents or former ownership, and they have the respect of you as sort of a judge of knowing what's going on in the world of business, that's an honor. Now, my job is to say, how many other athletes can I reach out and talk to so that they can have that place just the same? Because one day I'm going to get old and ugly. Nobody's going to want to see me. This salt and pepper style I got going on right now, right? It's just going to be all salt, right? It's going to be all salt. And people are going to be like, man, Dhani's just old and crotchety, and we can't talk to him anymore. And then somebody else is going to have to take my place. So why not hand it down to somebody else and allow them to build as well?
That's awesome. Can we talk a little football?
Talk football all day, man. What's up? What do you want to talk to me about?
Give
it to me.
What was your favorite part about being a pro athlete?
Michigan. What?
All right,
Michigan.
Other than Michigan, what's your favorite part of
Go
football?
blue. That's all I got to say. It's a wrap. I wish I could be like Obama and like drop the mic.
Yeah, right.
Man, how do you do that? It's like, I'm out.
What was can't do that.
What was some of the best parts of playing in the?
Yeah, like did you enjoy the travel?
It was awesome. I mean, look, you go from the University of Michigan, which is the greatest stage, the greatest university, established in 1817. I mean, we own everything. We are everything. I'm pretty sure everybody watching right now is from the University of Michigan because we pretty much built all this. Like everything that is in this world is from Michigan. Do you know that? Do you all know that? If you don't know that, I just told you everything is from Michigan. And if anybody disputes that, just go ask Harbaugh. He'll tell you. He'll get in your face. I'll get in your face too. So aside from Michigan, you talking about something else? Okay, so I got drafted by the Giants, which is owned by Michigan, by the way. Just let you know. I'm just saying. But the experience of football is awesome. You know, it's just the best part about the game is the locker room. The best part of the game are your friends or your family, people that you can just talk trash to on a daily basis. And then you go out there and you win together. And I think that the best part of the game is winning. But the best part of the game is also learning about yourself and learning about your friends in the same way about Spartan, right? It's about that team aspect. It's about the people and sort of like the quiet moments when you sit with your friends and you really learn about their life stories. I mean, I've had friends that I've played with that have been homeless. I've had friends that I've played with that, you know, family members, you know, their mother and father are dead. You know what I mean? I've also team members that have come from incredible backgrounds. So the trials and tribulations and the celebrations and the game of football sort of culminates in this moment where you just kind of like, wow, it was an awesome experience. Being able to play for 11 years, on the Giants for 4 years, and I'm so thankful that they raised me because I was like a little kid. You know, my first year I got hurt, and I don't know if anybody ever saw me, but I was that big guy on a little scooter going up and down Broadway, you know, burning the candle at both ends, you know, because I had to recover from an ACL reconstruction, but I was in the streets. I was in the city on my scooter like this. And I was just cruising through the city. You know, I would go to rehab, and I would justify being in the city on my scooter because I was like, that's rehab for my knee. And everybody's like, no, it's not. It's like, well, you know, I just got to justify it somehow. And then going to Philadelphia, and I learned a lot of valuable lessons. You know, playing in Philadelphia is an interesting town, suffice it to say, to be. But I met a lot of great people, and I got a lot of great opportunities. And I also got a chance to grow up. And then being in Cincinnati, I always say that that's the place that polished me, because that was an opportunity where I was able to like be a man playing football. And Marvin Lewis, who's the head coach, and Mike Brown, who's the owner, getting to know them, you know, spending time. Like, I was never a person that was afraid of going to the front office, right? I mean, when I was in elementary school, was probably not because I wanted to. It was probably because I got in too much trouble. And I think that carried on to later just being comfortable sitting in the ownership office, because I just wanted to get to know them. And I just wanted to get closer to understanding how and why and what, and always being curious. I'm a Montessori kid, so it's always been something of my nature. And so playing on the Bengals really gave me an opportunity to get to know the team, and really give me an opportunity to grow up as a person, but most importantly, to remain in a city of which I love, right? I live in Cincinnati. That's where everybody is, and it's just awesome. It's a great place to grow up. It's a great place to have a family. It's a great place. You know, I know all my neighbors. Can you believe that? I know all my neighbors. You know, we throw a big crawfish boil, and we have like 400 people. We just cook for everybody, and it's really a celebration of the city of Cincinnati and the community that it is. A lot of people, you know, fly over these states, drive through one time, and see how well people take care of you. There'd be no bumping on the streets. You know, there's nobody cutting you off. There's no honking of the horn. It's more like, so you need directions? People are like, whoa, why are you being so nice to me? Because
it's not like Michigan.
Because it's the Midwest. Well, you know what? I say Cincinnati. I didn't say the rest of everything, right? But no, it's not like Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor is like a special place. You want me to get back on that train? Yeah. Because I don't have to. I don't have to get off it. You know, I can talk about Michigan all day.
Yeah. No, I think we'll turn it over to the audience.
Ward Manuel, who's the new AD. He's awesome. You know, we're so excited about Michigan football this year. What else do we talk about? Harbaugh. I can talk about football all day.
We'll have the audience handle that right now. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Hey, it's a pleasure for you to be here. So, what were the mental challenges for you from transitioning to the NFL to what you're doing right now? And what would you consider making a sports reality show, in terms of letting the audience know how difficult it is or easy it is to be an athlete?
Oh man, I mean, being an athlete is just tough because of a lot is on the line, right? It's your job. You know, your job is to win, and when you don't, you feel as though you let somebody down. And I think the transition of it all is not easy. Even though I went to the University of Michigan and playing at Michigan, yes, I did just talk about Michigan, and people are gonna be like, man, he talked about Michigan all day long. It's like, I did, and I do. But look, we're 117,000 people in the stadium. There's no football stadium on the pro level that has that amount of people. So going from from that stage to like 80,000, 90,000, 70,000, you know, it's easier, I would say, in terms of that transition. But when you go to the transition from that to the real world, that's when you really start to put those metaphors to work. And that's why I believe that, you know, a guy like Strahan or a guy like Kirk Morrison or a guy like, you know, Akbar Kabaja-Biamila, who's on American Ninja Warrior, is doing so well because we've been on those big stages and we've been able to sort of go over those obstacles. We deal with the slip wall all day. We deal with the totem climb all day. We deal with the spear throw all day because of the fact that those are the challenges that we have to get through in the game of football, and it's the same way that we look at the game of life. You know, we have to be able to find that person that's going to be, you know, the support, and then we have to have them help us up, and then we have to be able to grab somebody and pull them up. And I think that's what the transition is really all about. And so whether you're talking about film and television, of which Spartan, thankful, on NBC, or whether it's my investment firm and the people that I work with there, or it's my philanthropic engagements with Bowtie Cause and working with a lot of different amazing organizations like Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, of which we sold like 100 bow ties and a dinner for like 40 grand. Right, raising money for organizations, and it's about having sort of the three approaches I always look at. Anybody in transition needs to understand there's three things you need. You need a platform, of which we all are empowered now, especially by an organization like AOL. Right, we all have that brand. Secondarily, you know, we need business, and tertiary to that, we need philanthropic engagement because we haven't done something without the help of somebody else, and we also need to be able to lift other people up. So the transition is tough, but if you have the support and you have the community to do so, and also the University of Michigan, then you're great.
Hi, Mr. Jones. I'm trying to not lose my thoughts because you are extremely funny. I believe I just started crying from your Michigan train. Congratulations.
Still going. Still going. God,
congratulations on your ever-growing career. I'm really excited about this as a young woman that is very intrigued with fitness and just the entire lifestyle because it's an entire realm that I do believe that we need. I wanted to know what are tips that you can give to individuals to break that breaking point? Like, I train and I work out really hard. What is that motive to really get your body past that point of no complaining? Like, it's like a breaking point that you have to not think of, because it's one thing to do something, but it's another thing to break past what you feel, break past what you think your body is giving out on, but it's really not. What tip would you give to that, and do you have any training camps coming up?
So the hardest thing with training is, in fact, always getting better. I mean, I would say that the one thing that you always have to realize is you have to make the challenges hard enough in order for you to stretch. Right? A lot of times people put challenges and they're just right in front of them, because it's okay to be able to jump like a foot, but to be able to jump 10 feet, you know, you're not going to be able to get to 10 feet in a day, but if you incrementally sort of stretch, then you'll be able to reach your goals. And you know, in the training moment, it's the same thing. You know, it's not always working out with 5-pound weights all the time. It's like, all right, 5-pound weights, great, I did that. I did it 10 times, did it 20 times, great, did it 30 times. You know, it's okay to go to 10 pounds, right? And it's the same thing with any other challenge. And it's the same thing if you think about it from the Spartan perspective. Like, that slip wall, I mean, it just became harder and harder and more challenging. And that's the same thing when it comes to working out. You have to be able to put the obstacles in front of yourself, even ones that you don't even believe that you can do, and incrementally build in order to get there. And then if you fundamentally can't, because you feel as though it's not possible, then find somebody else that believes that you can and make sure that they're there all the time. Because it's okay to do and to build, no pun intended, to build with other people, right? I don't have any training camps per se coming up, but there's a lot of different things that are out there. The way that I work out, I do a lot of yoga. Hot yoga. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I do a lot of hot yoga. And I can, like that. Love my yoga. It's really good. It leans me out. I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of CrossFit training in moderation. That's what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, burpee heaven. Love burpees. I wake up and I do like 40 burpees. It just makes me feel good. It's amazing. It's the feeling about burpees is great. And everybody hates burpees, but the thing that just, okay. So I do burpees, and I do yoga, and I do a lot of meditation. Meditation is key. It's the 360 sort of approach to being able to sort of be mindful, be flexible, and to be strong. And it takes time. And, you know, on an off chance, I might ride a bike a century, which is 100 miles, or I might run a half marathon or marathon. And it's just fun. So I just do it out, you know. And a lot of times I set those goals out because it's like, so like one of the races I'm doing later on this year is Pelotonia. I don't know if anybody have ever heard of it. It's an awesome organization. Doug Ullman, who's the CEO, is fantastic. And that's 180 miles. So Doug would call me and say, hey, Dhani, do you want to ride in Pelotonia? I'm like, great. He's like, I'm like, by the way, how far is it? He's like, 180 miles. I'm like, great. You know, so you have to put those things out in front of you so that you are always held accountable by the community that is supporting you, and then build up to that point. And if you feel like you can't do it, just do it anyways. Just get it done. You know, I will. Don't have any excuses for yourself. Just wake up and just go. And some days it might be tougher than others, but it's okay. Set the alarm clock like 20 times because we all know that we snooze 19.
We have time for one more.
Dhani, I really enjoyed your Travel Channel show. So throughout its run, like, which sport was the most challenging for you to do?
The most challenging? Man, I'll tell you what. You know, being able to tackle the globe, if you will, is a challenge in and of itself. I mean, I was on the road 200 days out of the year. 200 days traveling, playing different sports on different continents and different countries, different cultures, learning different languages, you know, fighting lefties and fighting righties and fighting short people, tall people, big. I mean, one time, I mean, when I was in Senegal, I mean, these guys are big. These guys are just big and just, you know, in Switzerland, all they drink is milk. And it's like big, strong, farm strong, which was, by the way, is one of the teams. I mean, they're just strong, right? But I would say the toughest challenge that I had when I was tackling the globe was actually just walking, right? Walking in Nepal when we went to base camp at Mount Everest. And I know that a lot of people in Nepal right now are, you know, it's, you know, a lot of the Sherpas, if you will, have passed, and it's been sad. But to be able to get to base camp at Mount Everest, you can't do it without the Sherpas, and you can't. For some people, it's really tough because the fact is you can't do it because you can't breathe, and that's all that it is. It's just walking in the mountains at altitude when you feel sort of this pressure behind your eyes and you get these headaches and you get this altitude sickness and you still have to push through. I mean, that's one of the challenges, you know, or the toughest part about it is because you just have to keep going, because the team of people and those that are at home are relying on you to tell the stories about the Sherpas, about the people that you meet along the way, and to be able to get to base camp and be able to get to Island Peak, of which I didn't. I didn't get there because I was hurting so bad I couldn't do it. I mean, it's a couple times in my life when I've been, you know, put forth a challenge and I couldn't even accomplish that goal. That's tough, right? But that was the hardest part. That was the hardest show I ever did. The best show, I'll tell you that too, was sailing in New Zealand. I love sailing. It's the most amazing feeling when you're just, you know, just on a boat, and it's just the power of the earth behind you and below you, and you're just going, and it was awesome. So, but that was a challenge, but that was the great part of the show, was being able to go through those experiences from difficult and easy, but at the same time, it's really about the stories of the people, and that's the great thing about Spartan. It's the difficulty of this mile-long obstacle challenge that all culminates in the slip wall and those that are winning $250,000. But it's really about the stories of the people and the everyday citizens that are able to work together to get over that slip wall, to conquer, and to be able to win that $250,000. So I hope everybody checks it out, June 13th on NBC, 10 p.m., 9 Central, right after American Ninja Warrior. And I know all my Michigan fans are going to be watching, so what are you going to do?
All right, Dhani, thanks so much for coming, man. Everyone check out Spartan.
Thank you.